What's up, y'all? My name is Lara Bell. I'm a country singer-songwriter from Northern Illinois, and you are listening to Hank's Corner.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Hank's Corner. You know who I am. I'm Hank Jr., part of Hank Jr. Productions, where I'm documenting life's moments through photography, videography, and, of course, podcasting. And I'm so excited about my next guest that we have on. Please welcome to my corner, Lara Bell. Lara, welcome to Hank's Corner.
Hi, Hank. How are you?
I'm doing well. Definitely appreciate you coming on. And I always like to start off at the very beginning. Everybody knows that I'm somewhere in the Tampa Bay area. That's where my little corner is. But where are you actually calling in from?
I'm calling in from a town called McHenry, Illinois. So I'm on the border of Illinois and Wisconsin.
Yeah, so that's kind of like your home area out there in Illinois, correct?
Yes, I grew up in Johnsburg, Illinois, born and raised. And yeah, I mean, something about the Midwest just has a little charm.
Yeah, so I haven't really spent too much time in Illinois. I am a big Cubs fan, so I did go to Chicago a couple times, and it wasn't too long ago I finally got to see my first Cubs game out there. But the rest of Illinois, I haven't really gotten the chance to see, and maybe because it's always so cold there. Is it still cold as we're recording this podcast?
It was very windy this morning, but we're about 50 degrees. We're getting some green grass now, so we're getting there.
Well, I don't mind 50s and 60s. As a matter of fact, when I went to go see that game, I could have sworn it was like in July or August time, and it was still 50 degrees. So I
That
think
happens sometimes. I know. We get like 3 good months of good weather, and the rest is just very, very cold. So I hibernate for a lot of the winter time.
yeah. So being out there in that direction, how often do you get out to Nashville?
I try to go. I've only been 2 times actually. So I'm trying. Let me rephrase that. I'm trying to go at least every 2 months. And it's not a bad drive. It's about 8.5 hours, just a straight shot through Indiana and Kentucky, and then you get to Nashville. So yeah, I'm trying to make that a goal of mine to go there a little bit more often this year.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool. And, I'm going to get to go back there this summer. I didn't get to go last summer, but I'm going to make my way up there this time. It's a little further for us to make that drive. It's about,
How far?
I think it's something like 10 to 12 hours from the Tampa Bay area of straight driving. So it all depends on, of course, traffic and how many times you have to stop. But, what about your area that's pretty cool that I might not be aware of out there? Tell me a little bit about your home area.
Well, obviously Chicago's, our biggest city, so that's pretty close. I live about an hour from the city, but with traffic, it's like 2, so that sucks. Um,
Yeah.
but I play a lot of gigs in the city very often. I'm personally not a big city person, but by being there, it's such a thrill and it's just so fun. There's all different types of people. So I say that's fun. That's not really hidden though. I'd say like a little hidden gem. Like I said, I'm really right on the border of Wisconsin, so I spend a lot of my time in a town called Lake Geneva, Wisconsin.
Mm.
I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it's a pretty popular tourist spot for a lot of people who live in Illinois. Some memorable moments is that it's in the early 1960s or 70s. It was the first Playboy club, I believe, in the country. I could be
Mm.
wrong, but the Grand Geneva Hotel was the Playboy club. And so that's a pretty big tourist spot where it's a hotel now, but there's lots of history. Again, with like the houses along the lake, it's just a really fun summer town. And it's just full of just good vibes. It's something I would definitely miss the most if once I move, because I'm planning on moving south eventually.
Oh,
So Wisconsin is definitely something I'll miss for sure. It's just the summer times and the bonfires and the lakes and the people are so nice. Like the cheeseheads are so nice.
okay.
I
Yeah,
consider
and that's
myself one.
yeah, that's one of the things I was hoping you get at because the culture there is pretty awesome. Whether it's the sports culture or the lakes out there. I mean, definitely a lot of fun stuff. And like I said, I haven't been able to take advantage of it, but I hope someday that I will. But those that follow me know that On Fridays, I put out a new Music Friday post, and you were
Mhm.
featured not too long ago because you have a recent song out called Reckless. And I'm really loving that song. Tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This one is a fun little story. I wrote it with a friend of mine slash producer. His name's Mark Wendell, and he lives in Lake Geneva. Actually, I literally live there all the time. We were old coworkers, and he told me he'd be willing to do a couple sessions with me. And we went, and we kind of came up with the idea. We wrote to a sample track, and I think he said the word either Texas or reckless, one of the two. And then that
Are
kind
they
of
one and the same?
no, but like they rhyme. Like I think he said reckless, and so then I was like, oh, Texas rhymes with that, or either or. And from there, I kind of ended up coming up with a story, based on a girl in Tennessee, and her boyfriend just ghosted her and just decided to drive out and achieve his cowboy dreams in Texas. And that's kind of like the story of the song. And I, obviously when I write, I like to take a lot of personal experiences and translate that into my music. So, who hasn't been ghosted before, right? So there's ways that you can kind of dive down deep and everything. And it's in like the production of the song is my band and I started playing it live over the summer, and that's kind of where the song came to be because we did a couple sessions last spring, and then I kind of just let it sit for a while, and then the band started playing it, and they're the ones who kind of created the groove to it, made it a little bit more shuffly of a song. And then it's pretty cool that I got to have all of my band members record on it, which doesn't always happen when I'm in the studio. So that was really special, and it kind of just documents a little moment in time of collaborating with people close to me, and just telling a story that I feel like a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah, and that's what we love doing here on Hank's Corner, or my whole conglomerate together, Hank Jr. Productions. That's what we like to do, is tell stories and document life's moments. And I joke a little bit about Texas and Reckless being one and the same, because those that know me, I am from Texas. That's my home state, and
Oh, okay.
sometimes it can be one of the same. So it wouldn't offend me if that was the case. But maybe by the end of the podcast, we'll find out if you've done anything really reckless. But let's go ahead and play the song here on Hank's Corner.
Woke up this morning on your side of the bed, your t-shirt hanging off my shoulder, empty bottle on the nightstand. I can't remember what I did last night. I must have called at least 1,000 times, but you don't ever pick up my calls when you see that 615. I bet you laugh it off. Months have gone by, yeah, I sit and cry when I think about how you left us behind in that red dirt dust. You didn't want to save us. How's life going for you down in Texas, and picking up my heart right where you left it? Drinking too much red wine, damn, you make me reckless. Been running around like wild horses trying to forget you. When I close my eyes, I see them baby blues taking me back to the night when you broke the news. And I know it sounds crazy, but babe, I still think about you. I would have followed you anywhere, but we kept on fighting, felt like you didn't care. Repeating the same mistakes. I guess you got tired of me and my ways. But long ago, you said we'd survive anything we went through. Oh, what a lie. 'Cause you grabbed your bags and you drove out west. Tennessee ain't the only one missing you to death. 'Cause when the going got tough, you stormed out. Texas. Been picking up my heart right where you left it. Drinking too much red wine, damn, you make me reckless. Been running around like wild horses trying to forget you. When I close my eyes, I see them baby blues, taking me back to the night when you broke the news. And I know it sounds crazy, but babe, I still think about you. And I know it sounds crazy, but babe, I still think about you. And I know it sounds crazy, but babe, I still think about you.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. That was Reckless, the latest song by Laura Bell. And, I'm Hank Jr., and we're having a good time so far. And I can't wait to see how we're going to get to the end here. But, the second section, I always like to talk about the artist themselves, their story, that sort of thing. And I kick it off with a game called Two Truths and a Lie. And basically, if you want to play Laura, here's how it goes. You're going to give me 3 statements, 2 of them being true, 1 of them being false, in any order. And then I'll try not to ask specific questions to give that away. But at the end of the podcast, I'm going to have to try to guess which ones are true and which one's the lie. So if you're interested, let's do it.
Okay, so do I just list them off?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Growing up, I was involved with horseback riding. And so on top of music, I became a little bit of a professional hunter jumper. And when I was 22, I had a bad accident and got flown off my horse. And so I stopped riding because I was scared. Luckily, I'm okay. But yeah, that was an experience in my life. And one day I'll have horses, again. But that's number 1. Number 2, my first concert was Hannah Montana. So that was pretty shaping of the woman I am today.
Okay.
Number 3, I gave myself a concussion with my guitar. Yeah, sounds super crazy and wild, but I guess it's possible.
All right, so here's what we got to figure out, okay, whether or not growing up you enjoyed doing horseback riding and became pretty serious and did some jumping until you had a bad accident around 22. Your first concert was Hannah Montana, or is it that you got a concussion with your guitar? So, 2 of them right away sound very painful. So, I kind of wish neither one of those had happened to you. But we'll go ahead and see if
well, maybe one didn't. Who knows?
Well, I'm hoping for both of them, but we'll see how this plays out. But, like I said, I do want to hear a little bit about your story, and we can go as far back as you want. But, you can even start at the time that I guess you were about 14 years old, and, that started really changing your life. Tell us about how you got into music, what inspired you, but then why did you decide to make it like your career pursuit?
Those are great questions. All right. Well, I guess starting from the beginning, I was 14 when I picked up a guitar, and my parents gave me some fun little guitar lessons where I had an amazing teacher who taught me all about the classics. And then it got to a point where I was like, I don't want to learn tablature. I want to sing Taylor Swift songs. So I ended up kind of learning a little bit about, chords and strumming, and I started writing at the same time. And a lot of my inspiration at the time was big and heavy on Miss Taylor herself. She's probably the reason I was able to relate to so much music in middle school, and liking that boy who didn't like you back. And I would sit for hours in my room and write songs which were like journal entries that I would sing. I would sing journal entries and think it was a song. So I still have that notebook somewhere. And at the time, it just really helped me cope. I had trouble speaking my feelings out loud. Who doesn't? And so that was kind of a big yeah, therapy session for me, and I just loved it. I fell in love with it. Prior to that, I have always been on the stage since I was 5. I've just fallen in love with performing. I was in musical theater, piano lessons, dance lessons at a very young age. And on top of country music, I also studied that all throughout my career, my high school and college career. So that gave me a lot of experience and a well-rounded education in the arts. And I'm just so passionate about all of it. So I'm really thankful to my family for listening to me as a young child who just had a dream of being on stage and singing to one person or 1,000, didn't matter. So from there, in high school, I played my first open mic when I was 16. The first song I ever played was Free Fallin' by Tom Petty, and I do
Oh.
have a video of it, and it's definitely pretty bad, but like a good memory.
Now, when
um,
you say you have a video, is that a video that we can find out there on social media? Because we're going to start looking if it is.
it might be on YouTube somewhere. I know I have it like in a Google Drive or like something like that on an old device. But yeah, it was a really fun open mic. I did like Drops of Jupiter. I sang Free Fallin'. And that was like my first experience performing with a guitar and playing in front of people. And I just really loved it. So I decided to talk to my family, and my dad was so helpful to help me get a couple sound equipment, system, microphone, a speaker. He works in sound production, so luckily he had a lot of that stuff
Mm, that
already.
helps.
Yeah, it definitely helped. And he loves music and loves, what he does. So in order to we kind of bonded over the years. When I started doing gigs when I was 18, I got my first paycheck at a little martini bar here in Richmond, Illinois called Olive Black. And that was so fun to get paid to sing. um,
Now all of a sudden it becomes from a hobby to a career once you start seeing those
yeah,
dollar
and
signs.
it's been 12 years now since I did that. I'm 27. I'll be 28 this year. And I've just learned so much about myself and about being a musician and how hard and difficult it really can be, especially when you're self-employed and you're marketing yourself. And I have since formed a band with some of my best friends. Excuse me. I have also released music. I've played stages in front of thousands of people and opened for some great country artists. But I've also paid my dues and played in bars to 2 people for hours and sang to nobody constantly over and over again. But it's like those big moments definitely pay off from those little ones. And I think by being a musician, you really do have to learn about like every different spot, the good and the bad, you know what I mean, in order to get better. And I think with my history in performing arts has really helped me be more confident on stage and entertain a crowd, because you're not just a singer, you're also an entertainer. um,
Mhm.
and that's something important, and I think that sets you apart between a lot of other musicians all doing the same grind. You can just tell when someone just is really passionate about it on stage. And if I'm having a bad day, I still do my best to get through it and put on that face, that mask, and still try to make people's day. Because my favorite thing about music is when someone is singing a song that I'm singing, or they're singing my own song, which has happened and always floors me. Or they're dancing, or they come up to me and they say, hey, I was having a really bad day, but then you played the song, which is a really special song to me and my wife, or to me and my family, and like I took that as a sign. And I've had so many moments like that that just have warmed my heart and like made me realize why I do this and why I want to continue doing it. And I love it. Like I'm a full-time musician. I do a couple side gigs here and there, but that's where I make my living, and I want to keep doing it for forever.
Yeah, and that's a blessing to have a job like that, because not everybody gets the job to where you say, because everybody does go through moments like, oh, I'm not sure I really want to be working today. I don't feel the motivation, whatever it may be. But to have a job that you know that if you're doing it right, could potentially bring that, like you said, people say, thank you for singing this, or thank you for doing that. Not everybody has that rewarded of the job. And, sometimes it's just the paycheck that they work for. So
Yeah.
continue doing that, continue making people happy. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and play Like a Rose, and we'll come back. We'll talk some more.
Ever since I've been trying to catch my breath. It gets harder every day. I got the same songs on repeat. My neighbors think that I've gone crazy, but in every line I feel you next to me. I can sit and play some Hank, maybe a little cash. That won't bring you to my door to put our pictures back. And my mama says it's hopeless, and that's just the damn hard truth. Like a rose at a funeral, baby, I can't let go of you. It was you who dug the grave, wrote the last words on our page. And in this chapter I lost you. Daddy said not to love a cowboy, 'cause alone they leave you lonely. Man, he was right about you. I could sit and play some Hank, maybe a little cash, but that won't bring you to my door to put our pictures back. And my mama says it's hopeless, and that's just the damn hard truth. Like a rose at a funeral, baby, I can't let go of you. And I wear black and pearls round my neck, and I'll turn the records off, and I'll put us to rest. And I'll grip mama's hand, and she'll say you deserve better. Little did she know that you were my forever, till you didn't wanna be together. I could sit and play some Hank, or maybe a little cash, but your truck's not in my drive to put our pictures back. And my mama says it's hopeless, and that's just the damn hard truth. Like a rose at a funeral, baby. Oh, it might be stupid, maybe, but I can't let go of you. Can't let go of you.
And that was Like a Rose by my special guest, Laura Bell. I'm Hank Jr. This is Hank's Corner, and we are having a good time here. And, like I said, Laura, keep making the people happy. I know when I got to start listening to your music, I instantly became a fan. So keep doing that. We definitely love it. But, as you're inspiring people, whether it's just, through the music or as an artist, people looking at you up on stage and say, hey, I want to be like her. Who were some of the people when you were younger that you draw your inspiration from?
That's a great question. Well, I already mentioned Taylor Swift, so she's a big one. And then I was a big fan of the Disney Channel days, so anywhere from like Hilary Duff to Miley Cyrus. Big fans, the Jonas Brothers, big fans of them back in the day. And then in country music, real big Miranda fan. I love her. Her first few albums really shaped me when I first started performing and writing and singing songs in my bedroom. And I guess nowadays I've really become really fond of Miss Lainey Wilson. I love her so much, look up to her. So she's amazing. I've gotten to see her a couple of times in concert, and she delivers an amazing show. And Miss Ella Langley, Lauren Watkins, Megan Maroney, like the list goes on, but those are some favorites.
Yeah, definitely some of those power females I can tell that you like. And,
Mhm.
one thing is to be influenced by them, but do you feel that maybe even your music or your songwriting is actually influenced by them? Or do you say, look, you know what, I like these artists, but I got to make sure that, my style is my brand and not that, or is it a combination?
I think fashion wise, I definitely pull a lot of inspiration from all of them because I just think they have great fashion and it's fun to take inspiration from different outfits and the branding of their artists. I'm kind of like a little hodgepodge. Like I take a lot of inspiration from lots of different areas. Like I don't have one specific style. I like to switch it up sometimes. And I kind of, with the last couple songs I've released, that's kind of been the same to me. They've all been a little different. And I like when I was younger and I'd be writing a lot, definitely would pull a lot of inspiration from like Taylor Swift's early days and her early writing. But these days, I don't know. I wouldn't say I tie myself to one specific person. I'm just able to kind of listen and just take inspiration from, I'd say, a lot of artists all over the board.
Yeah, and as a songwriter, you begin to appreciate music more than just from a fan level, but the deepness in it, or just the nuances and whatever it may be. You can pick that up that maybe the average fan like me can't. But is there any song in particular that you say, "Man, I wish I was the one who wrote that because that is just such a masterpiece"?
Oh, I feel like there's just so many. I really like this song "Poison and Wine" by the Civil Wars. I definitely wish I would have written that one. I think it's so beautiful. And then anything from like Taylor's early discography, I love "Fearless." I wish I would have written
Mhm.
"Fearless" by her. It's like one of my just favorite songs, and I just still get chills every time I hear it because it brings back so many good memories. Um, and I definitely do like a lot of. I'm trying to think. I feel like I need to go through my Spotify, like check all my song lists, but there's just so many good ones out there. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I know Megan has a song. It's like I hope you're happy or something like that. I hope you're happy now. That one's a really good one. Her lyrics are really good, and her imagery is really nice on that one. So I definitely can be like, oh yeah, I definitely wish I would have wrote that song.
Yeah,
um,
definitely some interesting songs there, some great ones. And,
yeah,
I've always said mine, would have been the dance that, sung by Garth Brooks. But, man, when you talk about, things like Taylor and that type of aspect of country, Fearless does have to be. I mean, I thought about that too, that it's just an awesome song. And I know she's had so many hits out, but that one always kind of, sticks in my head and my heart as well. So,
right. Or like
so
Tim McGraw or any of her old classics that just were so ahead of her time for her age and stuff. I
yeah,
just, yeah,
definitely a good pick on that one.
yeah. Hope You're Happy by Megan Maroney. I love
Hope
that
you're
song.
happy.
I think that one is so beautiful, and she's just so talented.
And as a songwriter, how much do you draw from your personal inspiration? I mean, not personal inspiration, but your personal life about you versus like just kind of what you see about others? Because I know for some people, like you said earlier, it's good therapy to write things down and it helps you deal with your personal life, your personal feelings. But how much of that does actually get into your songs and you're not ready to make that kind of move yet?
I have a lot of unreleased songs that are definitely very true to me, and I think that's why they're still unreleased because I'm sometimes a little scared to share my raw, vulnerable feelings with the world. But I will say yes and no, because I do love storytelling and I do love coming up with characters and stories based off of feelings I've experienced because personally I'm really happy right now. I'm engaged, I'm living life, I have an amazing job and amazing fans and to find unhappy feelings sometimes when I'm currently not sad, I really just pull into past experiences and or create some sort of storytelling web. A lot of the times like there's a combination, and then sometimes even if you're just life's getting you down, and there's so many times where music, I'm a big breakup song girly. I love my sad girl country,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what I gravitate to when I write. But we're all human and we all go through so many emotions every day. And lately I've been trying, not trying, but just like writing more about those experiences. And those are definitely very true to the heart and vulnerable, and just about life and getting older and failing at things and the feelings that come with that. So yeah, I would say a little bit of a mix of both.
Yeah, and I've done over 150 episodes now, and you would think after a certain point, kind of everything would. I've heard it all, sort of thing, but it's not true, because you bring up a point that has not been talked about on the show, and that's about the season of life that you're in. So you talked about you're in a happy, season of your life right now, and it's harder to write some of those tearjerker songs, and immediately what came to mind is Reba McEntire. And you take a look at before her band, had the accident and the type of music she was putting out, but then she, pretty much dedicated a whole album to them and the sadness and everything like that. And that is a very good point, that it really depends on what season you're in. And like I said, we haven't talked about that here on Hank's Corner before.
Yeah, I think it can definitely affect, like, I know when I've just been so heartbroken, my best material has come from those moments, because it's like that to me is the only way I can get out that hurt without having to go talk to somebody about it. So it's not like I'm asking to be like hurt in any, any way, shape, or form, obviously. But I also take pride in the happy too. Like when I'm just so happy. So naturally I want to, write about also the things that make me smile, and my fiance who treats me so well and who's amazing and wonderful, and all the happy moments that come from that, and growing up. And yeah, I guess that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, different seasons of life affect different styles of music that artists put out.
Yeah, and being a songwriter, your fiance there, better do right from here on out, because otherwise there's going to be a song about him at some point. So
Oh no, oh gosh.
he better treat you well, right? Because that's usually how it works.
He
Let's go ahead and play "Hate to Lie," and when we come back, I want to figure out what your lie was from earlier on.
sounds good.
All right, bud. Let's see how much this town has changed.
I drive around this old town and I'll admit I pass your street. I end up at that old pub where you never let me buy my own drinks. I don't know what happened, but I've been going down memory lane since I came back, but you ain't around. 'Cause I bet you got a big old house and a diamond ring around her fingernail, and I'll bet I'll run into you on a Tuesday night at our old corner booth. You'll ask how I'm doing and I'll say I'm doing just fine. Looks like you forgot already. Don't you know I hate to lie? We were just kids messing around.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. here with Laura Bell, my special guest, and you heard her song "Hate to Lie," but I did force her to lie earlier in the two truths and a lie that she gave me earlier. We're gonna have to figure out now, or at least I am. I know you guys like to play at home. Which of these are true and which ones lie? So, she said growing up, she did some horseback riding. All the way up till she became, semi-professional and did some horse until she had a accident around 22. Now that's pretty in depth there because there could be some things that are true and then one little part, makes it a lie. And I remember in high school or taking a logic class or whatever it was, and that whole thing could be true, but if there was one word in there that wasn't, then all of a sudden that sentence became false, and sometimes that would trick me. Her first concert was Hannah Montana. We do know that she does like Miley Cyrus, but was it her first concert? And she got a concussion from her guitar, which, I don't know where that's going to go if it's true. So I'm actually a little nervous on this one. I don't know which way this is going to go, but here's what I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess that the first one is true about the horseback riding. Now I'm stuck with either Hannah Montana or concussion. I hate to say that you've gotten hurt twice, but let's go ahead and say that you got a concussion with your guitar. How did I do?
So you said that Hannah Montana was the lie?
I said that was the lie.
Okay. Well, incorrect.
Oh, there goes my streak. I had a few days
you were
left
actually,
doing well.
you were scaring me for a second because you said the thing about the logic, and I was like, oh my God, he's right, because the first one was false.
Oh, okay. So there was so much to it. So
yeah. So you
but
your gut.
I should have. But I do know that you did horseback riding, and tell me about that because that's something that I don't get to do often. But I love it. It's an awesome thing.
I do love it. And I did have like a little mini accident. I was never professional. I just rode for fun with a trainer. They moved away, which is why I stopped lessons. And I was 15. I wasn't 22. But I grew up around horses. I love horses. And my dream is to have my own one day and get back into it for pleasure and everything. And I did see Hannah Montana when I was 10. My dad surprised me with tickets, and it was the best thing ever. And the Jonas Brothers. So 2007 was a great time. And the concussion part, I did give myself a concussion.
Okay, so now you're going to have to tell us how that is.
Yeah, it was
we
really
all want to know.
We're going to go back to 2020 and COVID, first month of lockdown, and I'm filming a bunch of TikToks because all my gigs got canceled. And I have the strap and my guitar on my body. And I remember my mom was calling me for dinner or something. And I couldn't hear her. And I was she interrupted me right as I got the perfect take. I've been trying all day, and I did the perfect take. And so I was frustrated. I was okay. And so I whipped the guitar off so fast that the back of it bonked me. And I had a huge bump, and my eyes were going like this. I was really dizzy, and I had to sit down. I was like, hey guys, I don't think I feel okay. And from there on, I was literally out for 2 weeks. I couldn't watch TV. My brain felt like it was floating around in my head. It was honestly such a silly thing to happen. How would that happen to somebody?
But that makes for a great story here on Hank's Corner. So thanks for taking one for the team.
Of course.
So I want to go ahead and kind of finish up with some rapid fire questions, and of course I always have to talk about at least once on my podcast food because I am a foodie, and definitely being up there, and Wisconsin's got certain kinds of food, and Illinois has. But what are some of the foods that you like? What's your comfort go-to food?
Comfort go-to food. Oh, I love cinnamon rolls.
Ooh, sweet.
If I'm sad, just bring me a cinnamon roll and I'll be happy. When it comes to our fast food joints and stuff, I love Steak and Shake. I don't know if that's all around the country or not. And Culver's, good old Wisconsin Culver's is good for a little cheap meal. And I guess I made a charcuterie board today, so that was fun. And I don't like to eat a lot of dairy, but a big bowl of mac and cheese, homemade mac and cheese will top it every time.
Well, you're saying all the things that I like, especially when it comes to the weekend, because a lot of that seems to be the weekend food, and I
Yeah.
and I and I just love those kind of foods that you just eat during the weekend. I tell my wife, yeah, maybe I'll eat a little healthier during the week, but then
Monday
the
through
weekend.
Friday, you're on schedule. The weekend, you give yourself that little extra, especially when you're traveling and you're on the road. Like, it's inevitable that you're not going to go to Taco Bell after a gig. Like, it's just so hard not to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And how about a favorite drink?
um, what category?
You can tell me whichever one.
Anything? I love matcha lattes. I love Dr. Pepper. It's like my guilty pleasure because I don't like to drink a lot of soda. So like if I'm gonna have soda, it's gonna be a Dr. Pepper like once in a while. Um, and if we're talking alcoholic beverages, I'm a big French 75 girly. Or like a nice Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. A little classy there.
Yeah, a
Uh,
little fancy.
Given the opportunity to perform with anybody on stage, who would you pick?
That's such a hard question. Oh my gosh. Given the opportunity, I feel like I owe it to myself. If I could sing with Taylor Swift, I would be complete. She has shaped so much of who I am as a woman and as an artist. And then in my country category, it would be so fun to do a duet with either Megan or Ella. That would be amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And how about TV? Are you binge watching any shows? If so, what are you watching?
I just attempted to watch Temptation Island on Netflix, but I got kind of bored. I don't really watch a lot of TV. To be honest, I rewatch Gilmore Girls and Gossip Girl way too much because I don't really have a lot of time to sit and focus on new TV shows. So to have a comfort show kind of in the background as I'm working or doing stuff, it's kind of nice.
Yeah,
This
well,
is
that
super niche though. H2O, just add water. I don't know if people know what that is, but like that was my favorite show in middle school, in like high school. It's an Australian show about mermaids, like girls who turn into mermaids.
yes, my a couple of my daughters did watch that at one point. I don't know much about it, but it did sound familiar.
So
And
fun.
once you
And
just
I started rewatching it in the background just on Netflix, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like so fun and cute and good. I loved this when I was younger. Plus the accents. I don't know. I was obsessed with like Australian and British accents, so I would like mimic all the time being in theater. It was just fun to me to watch a show where people had different accents.
yeah, we definitely love when we get to reach out to our Australian counterparts and have them on the show. That's always great to
Yeah,
hear what they say, how they say it, and that sort of
right?
thing.
My
But you
guitar player is actually from Brisbane, Australia, so
oh,
that's kind of
okay.
fun.
All right, pretty cool. And you talked a little bit about theater, and let's change it up a little bit. Given the opportunity to do any type of Broadway type play, what would you like to star
I
in?
love this question. My dream role is Elle Woods in Legally Blonde.
Oh,
That would be
okay.
so fun. Or Sophie and Mamma Mia. Those are my top two.
Oh, definitely ones that I have actually not seen on Broadway. I've seen, the
The movies,
musicals on
yeah,
TV, but
yeah.
not on Broadway. And those would definitely be cool to watch. And yeah, definitely if you were in there, I'd have to make a special trip to come do that.
One day we'll see.
But as you can see, I have a bunch of pictures here up on the wall of people that I've gotten the opportunity to see in person, and haven't gotten to see you yet. So, given the opportunity, if somebody were to come to one of your shows, what should they expect from a Laura Bell performance?
Well, they will expect a big genre diversity. I play a lot of different songs from different eras. I grew up with a lot of 60s and 70s folk and country music, also some classic rock. So I'm not a big I'm not I was homeschooled, so when it comes to pop culture, I wasn't really educated on that, so I kind of stick to the oldies for the most part, and people make fun
Nothing wrong with that.
all the time, but it's my favorite to play, some new pop country stuff, and then the classics like the Eagles and Tom Petty, and we go to the REO Speedwagon and Patsy Cline and John Denver and Simon and Garfunkel and amongst others. So I think it's fun that I like to choose my crowd if it's an older crowd or if it's a younger crowd, and kind of switch it up a little bit and always just be open to requests. I like to accommodate people's songs, even if I can't always give the best performance, I'm still gonna try. Um, and I guess it's a high energy, just a fun show. When I'm performing my originals, I definitely like to talk to the crowd a lot and just I'll tell them my story behind each song and just make it feel like, they can connect. Like we're not like not, I'm not on stage and they're not in the audience. Like we're just like at a sleepover or something. That's kind of my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, and whether or not it's in Illinois, Nashville, or maybe we get you to come play at the Tiki Cove here in Tampa, one point I definitely want to get out there and see you. But in the meantime, we'll have to do it through social media. So that being said, make sure all of you are following Laura Bell on social media. You can also find her website down below, laurabellmusic.com. And I believe you got some merchandise on there, correct?
I did have some merch. I do have some left over. Yeah, it was for my single Hate to Lie. I came out with a couple t-shirts and stickers. So I do have a couple left if anyone wants any.
Okay. I want to make sure that I bring that up because you and I both know that, when it comes to streaming and certain things that it's not bringing in the money for artists. So, merchandise and the shows, that's what we got to make sure that we promote. And
that gets you back in the studio to record more.
Definitely. But, definitely had a good time talking with you, Laura. If you ever want to be a guest on Hank's Corner, you're more than welcome to.
Thank you so much, Hank. This has been wonderful getting to know you and getting to share a little bit about my story. Thank you for letting me come on the podcast.
Maybe it's the wine in my blood at 1 a.m. Maybe it's the time on the clock telling me I'm gonna call your phone again. Maybe it's the voices in my head wanting to scream every word that I never said. I thought whiskey was supposed to drown the thought of everything. My daddy said you gotta take a few shots and you numb all that pain. I tried everything from red to white, but that don't cure what hurts inside. Maybe I just need a couple more rounds tonight. Didn't used to drink before I met you. Didn't used to sleep wondering, baby, who you're going home to. Now every time I take a sip, your memory comes crawling back, and I don't know how to forget. I thought whiskey was supposed to drown the thought of everything. My daddy said you gotta take a few shots and you numb all that pain. I tried everything from red to white, but that don't cure what hurts inside. Maybe I just need a couple more rounds tonight. Give me Jack or Jameson, little bit of Coke and bourbon. Give me something strong, not sweet, I'll take anything. Give me Jack or Jameson, little bit of Coke and bourbon. Give me something strong, not sweet, I'll take anything.
I just need one more round.
I thought whiskey was supposed to drown the thought of you and me. I thought whiskey was supposed to drown the thought of everything. My daddy said you gotta take a few shots and you numb all that pain. I tried everything from red to white, but that don't cure what hurts inside. Maybe I just need a couple more rounds tonight. Maybe I just need a couple more